Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Friday news dump. We are dumping all that news, everything that's happened all week, or that's going to happen over the weekend, and we're going to tell you all about it. This is the father and daughter news show, the comprehensive news of planet Earth, where we cover the news 10 minutes before we start the show. That's why we have no idea what we're talking about. We're reading it straight off the press, and we also haven't had any coffee, hence the Before Coffee. Now, let's go ahead and get into our headlines for today's show. Today on Before Coffee, Japanese gymnast axed from Olympic squad for smoking, and Germany's chancellor in Serbia for a lithium deal that could reduce Europe's dependency on China.
And the last Russian ship leaves Crimea, and a Nebraska tribe gets its land back after it was taken using eminent domain.
Greek singer Despina Vandi refused to play on stage with Turkish flag.
And this one hurts. We've lost Bob Newhart.
Italian journalist ordered to pay 5,000 euros in damages over a Giorgia Meloni height jibe.
And it's National Words with Friends Day, so stick your gob right back in your phone after you get off here and start playing games. It's July 19th, 2024 on Before Coffee.
Hello?
Life is
okay. It's a great Friday here. We're starting completely, but it's fine. We fixed it. Everything's great. And let's go ahead and get into our first two noob stories from me. Which first one from The Independent, by Rory Carroll. Japanese gymnast axed from the Olympic squad for smoking. Shoko Miyata,
wow.
The 19-year-old captain of the Japan's women's artistic gymnast team, oh, it's even worse because she's the captain, has withdrawn from the squad for Paris 2024 after violating the team's code of conduct by smoking, the Japanese Gymnast Association said on Friday, which is today, July 19th.
Japanese Mormons.
JGA officials said Miyata arrived in Japan on Thursday, the 18th of July, after leaving the team's training camp in Monaco for investigation, which confirmed the violation, including drinking alcohol. I mean, I kind of have to agree. If you're supposed to be the top health of a person, a human person, you probably shouldn't be drinking alcohol or smoking before the biggest competition in the world stage ever, which is the Olympics. You know, this time, forget your vices. Worry about your vices after the competition is what I say. You can get as drunk as you want after.
I say roll up a pack of Camels in your freaking sleeve and go out there. That's what I say, man. Forget the rules. Anyway, that's just...
Not sponsored, by the way. The women's squad would compete with 4 athletes instead of 5, the JGA told a media conference. We apologize from the bottom of our hearts for this, JGA President Tadashi Fujita said, bowing deeply along with other officials, including Miyata's personal coach, Matsumi Harada. Hopes had been high for the Japan's women's gymnastics team, which was seeking to win a team medal at the Paris Games for the first time since 1964 Tokyo Olympics. Miyata had been expected to lead a team comprised entirely of first-time Olympians and teenagers after she secured her Paris berth in May with a 3rd consecutive NHK trophy. Coach Harada said that while Miyata's conduct had been reckless, she had been under extreme pressure to perform at the highest level, which is why she was using her vices. She was spending her days really burdened with so much pressure. He said, wiping away tears, I would implore people to understand that. Mental health facing young athletes took center stage at last Olympics Games in Tokyo when gymnast superstar Simone Biles pulled out of one competition after another. Artistic gymnastics is one of the most popular sports at the Summer Games and will be held from July 27th to August 5th. So mark your calendars for not seeing Miyata, because she won't be there. Sorry, she's pulled out. But like, this is I guess a famous cultural difference. But I'm sure that other teams also have this kind of thing where, like, if you're gonna do stuff, don't. Because we want you to be in top form for the competition. And if you want to ruin that for yourself, go ahead. We'll kick you out, I guess. In more news, Germany's chancellor is in Serbia to help reduce their dependency on China. This is from Associated Press. I don't know who it's written by, but it's from Associated Press. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz was in Serbia on today, July 19th, to discuss a tentative deal with the Balkan country to excavate lithium, a mega project that could reduce Europe's dependency on China, one that has been fiercely criticized by environmentalists and opposition groups. Germany, the largest car maker in Europe, is seeking to secure lithium for its electric vehicle makers as the European Union struggles to reduce its dependence on imports from China. Lithium is a critical substance in making batteries for electric cars and everything. Your phone, everything with a battery is lithium these days. China currently dominates the supply chain for lithium-ion batteries. The excavation of lithium was back in the limelight after Serbia's constitutional court earlier this month overturned a previous ruling to cancel a $2.4 billion mining project launched by the British-Australian mining giant Rio Tinto in western Serbia Valley of Jadar, which is believed to be the largest lithium discovery in Europe. I think we even covered that story because that sounds like something I would have covered, like the largest lithium discovery in Europe. And no one's allowed to mine it. Serbian government's decision to cancel the excavation plans came after thousands of protesters in Belgrade, elsewhere in Serbia, blocked major roads and bridges in 2021 to oppose Rio Tinto's plans because of potential hazards to the environment. Protests were the biggest challenge yet to the increasingly autocratic rule of Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić. Scholz met Vučić on July 19th, probably in the morning because it's the afternoon now, at a critical raw materials summit where a memorandum of understanding between the EU and Serbia's government on a strategic partnership on sustainable raw materials, battery supply chains, and electric vehicles will be signed, officials from both countries said. There will also be a letter of intent signed by the Serbian government and several companies related to the lithium mining project and car battery producers. The memorandum will contain a commitment to high environmental sustainability standards, the German government spokesperson Stefan Heberstreit has said. Vučić and other Serbian officials have said the lithium excavation will go ahead if Germany and the EU states build factories for their car batteries in Serbia, rather than directly exporting raw materials to those countries. Vučić said that the lithium mining presents a huge opportunity for Serbia and its development. We have talked already and I can say I'm satisfied, he said. This presents big hopes for us, Serbia. We are convinced that we will not miss that chance. We are known for missing most chances. This time, we must not allow that. I can agree with that. Environmental damages aside, I think because it was British-Australian mining giant, i.e. a corporation, they're not going to give a shit about the local population. They're not going to care about how much things they destroy. It won't ever affect them. They're from the UK and they're from Australia. That's pretty far from Serbia. So I think this is definitely a better deal, especially for the potential hazards to the environment. Because, of course, Serbia's in Europe. The people they're making a deal with are the EU, right? So they have multiple different layers of people who are going to care about Serbia's environmental protections and make sure that the people living in Serbia aren't caused to have a lower quality of life because they decided to open a lithium mine. At least that's the hope. But they definitely have more people to yell at than some corporation from Australia and the UK, which, we're gonna fine you, and that's all you can really do with huge megacorps like that. But there's your two stories for me. On to you.
There's always ecological consequence, and just gotta make sure the people mining it aren't just gonna go take their stuff and go and never, fill in the roads they had to create or whatever.
Yeah.
Dump their waste in the drinking water. Yes, there's always that, but everybody needs lithium batteries, so. We don't want to rely on China. We already rely on them too much for our rare earth metals, which we can.
Which is one of them, to be fair. Lithium is one of those rare earth metals.
Oh no, it's not. Rare earth metals are actually rare.
Oh, okay.
Lithium
like
is
what, titanium or something?
Table. I mean, lithium's been.
Okay.
Oh yeah, like rare earth metals. I don't even know names of some of them. Oh. No, in the United States, the Salton Sea we covered last year was a big source of lithium.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which has to be developed. Salton Sea in California.
Yeah.
The big fake lake that they made a long time ago by accident.
Fake lake.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't there except they screwed up an irrigation project. Anyway, that's another story. And we go on to Ukraine. This is from Reuters. Ukraine says Russia's last naval patrol ship leaving Crimea. Ukraine's Navy said on Monday that Moscow's last naval patrol ship had left Russia-occupied Crimea, likely to rebase elsewhere after Kyiv's concerted military campaign to attack the Black Sea Peninsula as it battles a Russian invasion. Though it has no major warships at its disposal, Ukraine has used missiles and naval drones to inflict significant damage to the Russian Black Sea Fleet, which has long been headquartered in Sevastopol on the peninsula, seized by Moscow in 2014. Vice Admiral Oleksiy Papa, Ukraine's Navy chief, told Reuters earlier this month that Russia has been forced to rebase nearly all its combat-ready warships from occupied Crimea. The last patrol ship from the Black Sea Fleet of the Russian Federation is now bolting from our Crimea just now. Remember this day, Navy spokesman Dmytro Plentinchuk said on Facebook. Asked to clarify whether this was a permanent move, Plentinchuk told Reuters, most likely this is a transition between bases, adding Moscow did not usually send ships to the open sea for no reason. He said the vessel's designation was Project 135. Russian authorities have not responded to requests to comment in the past about Ukrainian claims of advances in the Black Sea. Kyiv has destroyed or damaged 27 Russian naval vessels, Nez Papa said. In May, Ukrainian authorities said they had destroyed the last Russian warship armed with cruise missiles that was stationed on the peninsula. Moscow's setbacks in the Black Sea came at a time when Ukrainian ground troops are on the back foot across a spiraling front in particular in the east, are on the back foot. That must be in retreat. I'm not sure what that means on the back foot. It must be a British thing.
Yeah.
British Vladimir. I'm sorry.
It's a British saying. You just can't. You know when you get kind of pushed or you almost fall over, so you put your foot
on your back. It makes sense. Yeah. President Vladimir Putin, the Navy chief last month, that Russia's fleet had been replenished over recent years and that a major modernization was underway, including steps to increase the combat stability of its fleet. But saying that because basically they're drafting all their young dying war. And in other news today, this is recent news. This is from KTIV.com. It's probably a TV station in Nebraska, I believe. Matt Hoffman. Nebraska tribe getting its land back. In Winnebago, Nebraska. The Winnebago tribe of Nebraska is officially getting thousands of acres of land back from the federal government thanks to an act of Congress signed into law by the president. Just beyond the bluffs to the edge of the Winnebago tribe's reservation lies prime conservation land sprawling out from the Missouri River. Thanks to the Winnebago Land Transfer Act, which just became the land is the tribe's once again. We're upholding the Treaty of 1865 and the leadership and warriors that signed that treaty, said Victoria Ketchayan, the tribal chairwoman. So that's how far back it goes. In the 1970s, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers took the land, using eminent domain for their own project. The project never happened. We're just going to take it. That project never happened, but the Corps leased it back to the state of Iowa instead of giving it back. We can make money off this land we stole. The old shell game. Oh yeah, we got a purpose for this. We're going to make money off it. That's our purpose. The tribe has always had friends on both sides of the aisle, said Ketchian, and we're really proud to have a bipartisan bill passed during such a volatile times in our country. Now, land is used for public hunting. Tribal officials say that will continue. The public will still be able to hunt in the area. The only thing that is going to change is your fee. Instead of paying the state, you're going to end up paying the tribe. And they ought to jack up the rates by 1,000. Anyway, yes.
Yeah.
But we keep our own, making it accessible to tribal members and all folks who want to enjoy the beauty of the land, said the chairwoman. There are some restrictions on the new land. The tribal spokesman said the tribe cannot establish a casino on the land, though as the chairwoman mentioned, they're committed to keeping this land as a conservation area. Man, you put a casino in there, you just stop it. Stop it with the casinos already. Gambling's legal everywhere. White man's taking away that from you too.
What the hell? Yeah.
You could make some money. So casinos have become a thing of the past. Of the white man decides, hey, we can gamble too. We can make money from too. They own that already, but they're all. Some of them are just too Puritan to do anything to allow it to be legal.
Yeah.
They'll just say, well, let the tribes have it. Let the tribes run it, which is cool. Either way, let people lose their money if they want to. In practice, the land will soon be transferred from the Corps to the U.S. Department of the Interior, which will hold the land and trust the tribe. Chan said the tribal officials plan to meet the federal government representative next week. Once the land is officially transferred, the tribe will hold a celebration to commemorate the occasion. While the Winnebago Indian Reservation is mainly located in Nebraska, the 2 tracts of land returned by the law are located in Iowa. The tribal spokesman said that's because flooding of the Missouri River, which rerouted its channel. The Corps had proposed a recreation project, according to U.S. Senator Deb Fisher. That's why the Corps started, the Army Corps we're talking about. That's why the Corps started eminent domain proceedings. The tribe won illegal challenges to keep portions of the land in Nebraska away from the recreation project, but lost the tracts that are now in Iowa. According to the tribe, the lawyer in 1970 agreed to a legal agreement about the tracts in Iowa without the tribe's consent. While an appeals court eventually found the condemnation of land was illegal, it couldn't overturn the ruling. Both chambers of Congress passed the law by voice vote, meaning the bill had large support, and a recorded vote was unnecessary. So a very popular bill, giving land back to people that never should have been taken from in the first place. It's taken by chicanery, plain and simple. Back to you.
Sorry, I'm replying to a comment on YouTube.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Hold on.
All right. Next is let me take my little headphones off, my producer headphones off. We're gonna cover news about Italian journalists being sued by the leader of their country and having to pay 5,000 euros because of, I guess, defamation or whatever you want to call it. You made fun of me, give me money. Angela is from Angela Giofrida on The Guardian. An Italian court has ordered a journalist to pay 5,000 euros in damages. I refuse to believe she took 5,000 euros in damages. She's a freaking leader of a country. To Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni for mocking your height over social media and what was defined as body shaming. Don't think she's already in the highest position in our country. I don't know how that ruined her life. But that's not my job. My job is to cover the story. Okay, Julia Cortez, a journalist.
It's the principal.
Was also given a suspended fine of 1,200 euros over the jibe, which dated back to October 2021, a year before Meloni's far-right coalition government came to power. Yeah, because you made fun of me being short, it took me longer to become the leader of the country. The pair clashed after Cortez, 36, published a mocked-up photo of Meloni with the fascist dictator Benito Mussolini in the background on Twitter. In reaction, Meloni wrote on Facebook that the falsified photo was of unique gravity and that she had instructed her lawyer to pursue legal action against the journalist. In 2 further tweets on the same day, Cortese wrote messages that translate as, "The media pillory you created on your Facebook page qualifies you for what you are, a little woman. And you don't scare me, Giorgi Maloney. After all, you're only 1.2 meters, 4 feet tall. I can't even see you. Corteza was acquitted over the tweet comparing Maloney to Mussolini, but convicted of defamation over the latter two, which the Milan judge said amounted to body shaming. I'm sorry. I don't think body shaming is right. I don't think you should do it. But also, getting sued for it is a little too extreme for me. Hey, you called me fat. You owe me $500. How dare you? You ruined my life. Cortese said that being convicted over a joke phrase was scandalous. There's a climate of persecution. I don't feel I have the freedom anymore to write about this government, because once you are identified as an inconvenient journalist for this government, they don't let anything pass, Corteza told The Guardian. Corteza can appeal, but undecided about whether to do so. Going ahead with it risks costing me a lot. I don't know how it would end, she said. Maloney's lawyer said she would donate the 5,000 euros to charity when a definitive sentence was confirmed and the money was paid. Okay. You're still like, she's still like the leader of a country bullying some journalists. Oh, at least she's giving to charity. Yeah, charity to bully more journalists, I'm sure. The charity of bullying journalists. That's what she's giving it to. According to various Italian news outlets, Maloney is 1.6 meters, 5 feet 3 inches tall. Hehe. She's 0.03 more taller than me. Not just the first time she's taken legal action against a journalist or someone who has criticized her publicly. Since coming to power, her government has been accused of making strategic defamation suits to silence journalists and public intellectuals. Oh, you said something that hurt my feelings. You can't speak anymore, ever, in the public space. In a high-profile case last autumn, the anti-mafia writer Roberto Saviano was found guilty of libeling Maloney and fined 1,000 euros for calling her a bastard over her migration policies. That's just an opinion, baby. You gotta learn to take the criticism. The case dated back to a TV interview in December 2020, in which Saviano, author of the best-selling book Gomorrah, castigated Maloney and her fellow far-right leader Matteo Salvini on TV over their vitriol towards charity run-up ships rescuing people in the Mediterranean. Yeah, if people want to rescue people crossing the Mediterranean, why are you so angry about it? Maloney is also suing the Palestinian journalist Rula Jabriel, who has Italian-Israeli citizenship, over a tweet dating back to September 2022. In addition, Jabriel is being sued by Fabio Rampielli, a politician from Maloney's Brothers of Italy party and vice president of the lower house of parliament, over a tweet in January. It's so ridiculous.
Oh.
You're in a public office, get some thicker skin. Everyone thicker skin. No one's gonna agree with what you have to say. Why the hell are you suing people over it? God. Maloney's government has been accused of exerting its influence. Accused, it's a fact that they're exerting their influence over state broadcaster Rai and other Italian media. In April, Rai came under fire for alleged censorship after the abrupt cancellation of anti-fascist monologue that was due to be read by author Antonio Scurati. That's not suspicious. Maloney attacked Scurati on social media, while accusing the left of crying at the regime. Okay, so is Scurati gonna charge Maloney with defamation because he got attacked on social media? I think we should just all start doing that. Hey, the president told me said I was a loser, so I'm gonna sue him for defamation. I'm not a loser. I have a successful career. This all is so dumb. Stupid. I don't know what to say because I might get freaking fined I live in the EU, so I could get fined by the Italian leader of the Italian government for saying anything about Maloney. God, stupid. Anyways, that's my story.
Everybody's way too sensitive. Well, at the risk of making jokes that offend people, we're going to remember Bob Newhart. Is that the story?
That's the story. I have nothing else to say. Yeah, I've said all I can about that.
Okay, awkward pause aside. This is from Billboard.com. Paul Green. 7 times Bob Newhart made Billboard charts in award history. A bitch up. Bob Newhart was the first comedian, rock star, as you want to say, before there was rock. I mean, he was selling albums that topped the charts. We are a deeply divided country. We keep hearing, which again, that serves a media narrative, so they keep repeating it. If they keep saying it, it must be true. Even if it's true or not, they keep saying we're a deeply divided country to sell shit to us. Yes. And that's what they're doing. And they keep saying it, and it's not necessarily true. I get along with everybody. Like as Chrissy Hahn said, I got a smile for everyone I meet, as long as you don't try dragging my bay or dropping a bomb in my street. So I'm not divided.
I think the only people who are divided in this country are bigots and racist, who still think, you know,
but they've always been
people
that way.
Are lesser. Yeah. So, but those people have always been here.
Yeah, but
there aren't more.
Those
racist.
People should be kept in the shadows. Yes. They should be kept in the shadows and shunned as much as possible. Who cares if it drives them underground? We want to hear it. We don't care about your personal feels about your life. We don't. Everybody's got struggles. It has nothing to do with race. Yep. Anyway, back to Bob Newhart. Bob Newhart was a national treasure and one of the most talented and original comedy stars who ever lived. Newhart, who died on Thursday, July 18th, at the age of 94, starred in 2 long-running sitcoms, The Bob Newhart Show and Newhart, that entertained America for a combined 14 years and will probably run endlessly in reruns. The former was part of the CBS Saturday night lineup in 73-74 that is universally hailed as perhaps the most solid single night lineup in TV history. All in the Family, the Newhart Show, and the Carol Burnett Show. Yep, in front of the TV on Saturday night and never have to get up off the couch. Just to go to the bathroom to the commercials. Because you had all those shows in a row. Now that the schedule is worth staying home for on Saturday nights and now that schedule is worth staying home on Saturday nights, and millions of Americans did just that. Newhart had a wonderfully dry sense of humor and comic timing that put him up there with such masters as Jack Benny, B. Arthur, and Betty White. Johnny Carson once told his Tonight Show audience of Newhart's first visit to Carson's vast and perhaps a bit over-the-top home in Malibu. Newhart looked around and dryly inquired, where's the gift shop? So he also had a spy. He was doing the Bob Newhart Show. CBS wanted Bob and Emily to have kids, thinking that would boost the ratings. Newhart didn't think that was the right move for the show. Unwilling to let it drop, CBS commissioned a script with kids and the storyline and had it delivered to Newhart's home. When a CBS executive called Newhart to find out what he thought of the script, the star politely replied that he thought it was well written with some solid laugh line. He paused and said, "Tell me, who are you going to get to play Bob?" He didn't want kids upstaging him in his show. He didn't want a kid's show. It's like, this is adult comedy. While Newhart is best known for his work in TV, he had a pair of #1 albums on the Billboard 200 in 1960 and 61. With Newhart's death, just 4 lead artists who topped Billboard in the 200, which started in March 1956. Okay, this is a long, convoluted sentence. With Newhart's death, just 4 lead artists who topped the Billboard's 200 before the Beatles' explosion arrival in 1964 are still living. Johnny Mathis, who's 88, Peter Yarrow and Paul Stuckey of Peter, Paul and Mary are 86, and Motown legend Stevie Wonder, who's 74. So that's the pre-Beatles tops and Billboard people are still living. Okay, just to be clear. Here are the 7 times Newhart made Billboard in awards history. The Button-Down Mind of Bob Newhart was the first comedy album to reach #1 on the Billboard 200. It first topped the chart on July 25th, 1960, and remained on top for 14 weeks. A comedy album on the top of the Billboard charts for 14 weeks. That still constitutes the record for the longest stay on top for a comedy album. Vaughn Meter is second place for the First Family, which was 12 weeks on top in 1962. Here's a lesser-known fact. The Button-Down Mind was also the first live album to top the chart. The set was recorded live at the Tidelands Club in Houston, Texas. The Button-Down was the first. The Button Down Mind was the first #1 album for Warner Brothers. Two albums of Warner have logged as many or more weeks at #1. Fleetwood Mac's Rumors stayed on top for 31 weeks, a classic rock album, and Prince and the Revolution's Purple Rain soundtrack logged 24 weeks at #1 in 1984. The Button Down Mind Strikes Back, the hit #1, that's his follow-up album, on January 9th, 1961, just 4 weeks after its predecessor logged off its 14th and final week on top. So 4 weeks after his first album left #1, this is almost Taylor Swift territory. 4 weeks after his first album left #1, his second album was #1. The third comedy album to reach #1, in case you were wondering, was Alan Sherman's My Son, the Folk Singer in December 1962. That wouldn't make it the fourth because you just said Von Meters did it in 1962. So I'm just correcting the article. That would be Alan Sherman's the fourth to reach #1. Button Down Mind of Bob Grammy ceremony in 1961, beating albums by iconic performers Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, and Harry Belafonte, who everybody's heard of, among others. It was the first comedy album to win Album of the Year. Meters, The First Family, was the second, 2 years later. Von Meter, of course, his popularity went way down after JFK was assassinated because that's who he impersonated, and it was not funny anymore. Not at all. That's a credit tank in an instant. Newhart was also the best comedy performance, spoken word, that year, but weirdly, it wasn't for the same album. It was for his follow-up album, The Button Down Mind Strikes Back. Newhart won his Best New Artist the same ceremony in 1961, beating opera legend Leontine Price, who went on to receive a Lifetime Achievement Emmy. South African singer Miriam Makeba, the folk group The Brothers Four, and pop star Joni Summers. Wow, what happened to her? Joni Summers. I never, of course, I wasn't around in 1961. Some say, there's a parentheses, some say Milli Vanilli, who won the award in 1990 before it was revoked following the lip sync scandal, was a non-musical artist, but that seems harsh. Ha 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 ha. Milli Vanilli didn't sing on their own song, famously. It was somebody else, so they lip synced all their concerts. Anyway, Newhart won his first and only Emmy competition in 2013, Outstanding Guest Actor on a Comedy Series for his role as Arthur Jeffries, Professor Proton on The Big Bang Theory. He had previously been nominated for Outstanding Writing Achievement in a Comedy for the first Bob Newhart show in 1962 on NBC. That was the original one, which I'd never seen. 3 times for his role on Newhart, where he played a Vermont innkeeper, and a guest shot on ER, and a role in the TNT movie The Librarian, Curse of the Judas Chalice. Yes, Newhart wasn't nominated once for his role in the classic The Bob Newhart Show. He played a psychologist in Chicago married to Suzanne Plachette. Hard to imagine. He was in news anchor John Chancellor, talk show host Phil Donahue, game show producer Mark Goodson, daytime drama writer and producer Agnes Nixon, and Dragnet star and creator Jack Webb. The Button Down Mind of Bob Newhart was voted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2007. Newhart was the first recipient of the Mark Twain Prize for the fifth recipient. The fifth recipient of the Mark Twain Prize. First looks like fifth, I'm sorry, when you spell it. For American humor. The following Richard Pryor, Jonathan Winters, the first 4 were Richard Pryor, Jonathan Winters, Carl Reiner, and Whoopi Goldberg. Those gathered to honor Newhart include Kelsey Grammer, David Hyde Pierce, the Smothers Brothers, Don Rickles, Tim Conway, Bernie Mac, Jane Curtin, Fred Willard, Julie Sweeney, and Stephen Wright. So, we say goodbye to Bob Newhart, a funny, funny man who just made you laugh without trying to insult your intelligence. He didn't mind insulting other people's intelligence. He didn't mind using their intelligence to insult, but it was usually the people he insulted didn't get the joke. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say it's highbrow, but you had to pay attention. It's smart humor. It's, oh, look at that guy. He's got a penis on his head. He's hilarious. It wasn't that. It was like, and he didn't mind being the straight man.
Yeah.
In fact, he was a straight man, right?
I think being the straight man is more funny. That's what I do myself, right? Or I like.
Oh, he was a straight man on both.
It's like being oblivious, right? You're like, huh? Why would you be joking about such things? I think it's hilarious because also you get the person who's making the joke all uncomfortable because they're like, this person didn't get it, and I'm like, in a way, it's trolling, right? The original trolling.
It's so much
is being
funnier
the straight
being.
man.
Right. Yeah, it's so much funnier being a victim and just being, wow, everybody here is stupid. I'm a straight man. Yeah. So Bob Newhart, 94 years of making everybody laugh. I'm sure he started making people laugh at a young age. Maybe not 94, but
yeah. I mean,
went from being an accountant to a comedian in about 6 weeks, 6 months. He was an accountant and never toured nightclubs. This is amazing. He never went out and did the tours and shit. He just went from doing a couple of speaking engagements, and then some guy said, we got to record you. And he went right from anonymity
to put you on television.
The top of the Billboard charts. Yeah, the top. Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, for comedy. Amazing. Anyway, back to you.
The world is a little less funny today, that's for sure.
That's right. Everybody moves up a notch in the funniest human today or yesterday. Some people just aren't funny. They're not moving up at all. Yeah.
Okay. Well, in more culture news, let's talk about some drama in Greece and Turkey as Despina Vandi refuses to play on stage with a Turkish flag. This is from Johnny Walfitz with AP on Euronews. Greek pop star Despina Vandi was asked to leave a town in Turkey after she refused to perform on stage with the country's flag and a portrait of Atatürk. 54-year-old singer was due to perform at a charity concert in Çeşme, a Turkish resort town west of Izmir, late on the 17th of July, which was Wednesday, and refused to make an appearance after authorities declined her request that the flag and poster of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk be removed, and the state-run Anadolu agency reported. Atatürk is the country's founding father, who served as Turkey's first president between 1923 and 1938. This comes at a time when the leaders of Turkey and Greece are trying to improve their rocky relationship. I don't want to be the one to say this, but I say it every time Turkey and Greece come up. The only reason they have a rocky relationship is because Greece will not admit that they used to be part of the Ottoman Empire for 400 or 200 years, and that may or may not have influenced their society. They would just know. We have always been pure Greek forever. We never had sex with any Turkish people. We didn't mix races at all. We're completely purely Greek, and nobody will take that away from us. Don't even compare us to Turkey. We're nothing similar. They're very similar. As somebody who studied European culture, they're quite similar. They have a lot of historical ties, and they just need to accept that. I don't know if Turkey also famously refuses to acknowledge Greece as one time a part of the Ottoman Empire. I have no idea, but I hear it mostly from Greek people who are like, don't talk about Turkey. Souvlaki and shawarma, different things. Nothing similar about them. Anyways, that's my normal rant about Greece. I'm sure Greece also has a bit of a on a high horse because a lot of Western society considers them the core creation of Europe. That's where Europe came from, Greece. Not Turkey, but Greece. Only Greece. Even though the Arabic people of Turkey have added a lot of things to our society, like math and our alphabet. Did you know our alphabet is Arabic? Anyways, let's continue. In an Instagram post, Çeşme expressed her respect to the audience who honored me with her presence at my concert, but she criticized the organizers, the Turkish Education Foundation, for changing the event from a concert into a prohibited and non-agreed political connotation. My participation in the said event is not possible, she wrote. The audience, which had filled Çeşme's open-air amphitheater, expressed their disappointment with boos when the reason for her decision not to appear was announced, according to Sosa newspaper. There is no power that can make us bring down our flag or Atatürk's poster, Anadolu quoted Çeşme's mayor Lal Denizli, Denizli at the telling the crowd. Do not boo her. I don't think it's worth tying yourselves and wasting your breath. She continued, this lady should leave this town's limits immediately. Yeah, you're going to Turkey, but you're like, I don't want anybody to know I'm in Turkey right now, so you need to take your flags down. Neighbors Turkey and Greece have been at odds for decades over a series of issues including territorial claims, for example in Cyprus, and having to come to the brink of war 3 times in the last half-century, over just not agreeing that they used to be part of the same country. Leaders of the 2 countries have met several times in the past year in a bid to strengthen or possess a process aimed at normalizing ties. Yes, normalizing. That's a great word. Normalize the history of your 2 countries and stop making a big deal whenever somebody does something. Tozu newspaper said many of the spectators to watch the performance of a choir that was scheduled to accompany the Greek star and joined the choir in singing a patriotic Turkish anthem. Commenting on the Ask Balkans subreddit, a user, we're getting news from the subreddits, oh here we go. A user posted, from her perspective, she is right. After all, she could face serious backlash and hatred in Greece. There's one point where she's completely wrong in my opinion. My honest opinion, sorry, he said IMHO, my honest opinion. Why do you agree to give this concert in the first place? I agree with that. The name of the organization that arranged the concert is Turkish Education Foundation, for fuck's sake. It is a known fact that Turks hang Ataturk's picture and the Turkish flag in such areas. It's also a fact they will not accept their removal. This could easily be prevented by not accepting to give a concert. Yeah, if you don't want to be seen pictured next to a Turkish flag, don't go to Turkey. Surprise! I mean, similar things happen in a lot of places. Of course, famously, Japan and Korea, South Korea, have terrible relationship for, especially during the war crimes they committed during the Meiji era or World War II. And yeah, there will be some K-pop stars who, if they, you know, are next to a Japanese flag or post a Japanese flag emoji, will get freaking lambasted by the people on the internet. How dare you! Japan's evil! So this is a common problem in a lot of places where just a flag can insult your audience or your people back home, right? Can't believe this Greek person was pictured by a Turkish flag. She should die! That was sarcasm. But I think you're muted still, but that's my story from Greece and Turkey. They're still not getting along. Now that's a place where you have a both siding there.
Yeah.
But here on to
just don't call anybody a jive turkey.
Yep.
You jive turkey. What are they doing for that? They don't even know what to do. You jive turkey. That's from 1975. I don't know if anybody know what to do with it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of history, I guess. In lieu of a good segue, speaking of history, on this day in 1333, Scottish forces were defeated by the English under King Edward III in the Battle of Halidon Hill, 1333. 1545, during the Battle of Solent, the Mary Rose, a warship that often served as a flagship for the English fleet, sank in the Strait of the English Channel. The wreck was raised in 1982 and put on display in 2013. Wow, they brought it up from the bottom of the English Channel, which probably isn't that deep, you know. 1860, Lizzie Borden, who was suspected of murdering her stepmother and father, but was acquitted on a trial that became a national sensation in the United States, was born the day, this is her birthday. Happy birthday to, well, she wasn't a murderer because she wasn't convicted. We can't say for sure. But she was born on this day in 1860 in Fall River, Massachusetts. In 1870, the French Emperor Napoleon III declared war on Prussia, beginning the Franco-German War. And that's the Rochesters migrated from Prussia. So it might have had something to do with that. It might have had a lot to do with it. They might have been displacing people. I'd have to look into that history. Napoleon III was the nephew of the original Napoleon Bonaparte. Not to be confused with Napoleon XIV, who had that song, "They're coming to take me away." Ha ha, hee hee, ho ho. Anyway, We'll play it someday. Napoleon XIV, novelty song. If you know, you know. If you don't, you're like, what? 1886, Hungarian piano virtuoso and composer Frank Liszt played the piano for the last time in concert in Luxembourg. The last time? Wow, that's sad. 1903, French bicyclist Maurice Garin won the first Tour de France, which covered 2,428 miles. It was 1903, and it's going on right now, the Tour de France. I believe they're towards the end, definitely very close to the end. 19 politician George McGovern, who served as U.S. Senator and was a unsuccessful candidate for the presidency in 1972, was born in Avon, South Dakota. He was also a decorated pilot in World War II, but they left that out. 1947, Aung San, Burmese national leader and prime minister, was assassinated in Rangoon, which is now Myanmar, not Burma. 1965, American wild animal tamer Clyde Beatty, who is known for his fighting act, which was designed to show his courage and mastery of ferocious animals under his control, died at the age of 62. So a guy who fought lions for a living. Well, it was an act anyway. 1980, the Summer Olympics opened in Moscow, though some 60 countries refused to attend because of the Soviet Union's invasion of Afghanistan in 1979. It was the largest boycott in the history of the Olympic movement. And in retaliation, Russians said, that's it, we're not going to the Olympics in Los Angeles because we're just reactionary. So that's when we said, aha, you just do whatever we do. You're copycatting. Anyway, 2007, Mad Men star John came to critical and commercial hit, noted for its nuanced presentation of social life, and in the 1960s and for its stylish visual flair. Stylish visual flair. Another sad death to report. In 2014, American actor James Garner died at the age of 86, known for his roles in The Maverick and The Rockford Files, and one of my favorite actors. A lot of integrity, did a lot of his own stunts, probably suffered a lot from doing a lot of his own stunts. For TV, I don't know. I guess he just wanted it to look real. Did a lot of his own driving stunts. He loved to act. Actually, he was one of those off-road racers. He used to drive into Baja, you know, that long 1,000-mile journey through the desert in the southwestern part of North America. James Garner, famous racer, actor, all-around guy. Died in this day in 2014 at the age of 86. Our featured event, 1848. By the way, July 20th is tomorrow.
Yeah.
The 55th anniversary of the moon landing. 55th anniversary of the moon landing is tomorrow. So there you go. We'll commemorate that. We won't get around to it on Monday. But on this day in 1848, the women's suffrage movement began. On this day in 1848, the women's suffrage movement in the United States was launched with the opening of the Seneca Falls Convention, which sought to gain certain rights and privileges for women, notably the right to vote, which you're losing rights every day now in the United States. Go enjoy them while you got them. Edgar Degas is our feature biography, French artist. Degas was born on July 19th, 1834 in Paris, died in Paris. Let's hope he did some traveling in the 83 years in between. So in 1917, he died in Paris. So 83 years of hope, painting, and not just staying in Paris. Other birthdays today, Howard Schultz, American businessman, 1953. Isn't he the guy who he is? I'm not sure. Vitaly Klitschko, Ukrainian boxer and politician, his birthday. He's born in 1971, so he's 54 today. Howard Schultz. Yeah, I think he's Starbucks, but I could be wrong. What day is it today? It is National Words with Friends Day. A little game on your phone that you play against other people, and if you get any brains at all, you're really good. National Play Day, and it's National Curry Day and International Read Day. Not because you want to sue a lot of people. The retainer, I think, is future your brace is aligned and it keeps them in line or whatever you want to call it. That thing. Sometimes it's a big wire doodad with the head brace and stuff, but other times it's just Invisalign things. So those are all the days for today. And again, this is a show that has a lot of people working in the background, and we like to call them out every once in a while. So it's Friday, so we'd like to salute all of our. Well, last year during the writers' strike, we had to hire a lot of scab writers, and since we don't make any money here, we still have them because they work for less. They work for cheap. Actually, only pay them in donuts. But here they are, is our writing team who helps put together these wonderful shows week after week. Our lumberjack consultant is Tim Burr. Our plumbing expert is Lee Key Pipes. Our global warming reporter is Dee Zaster. Maybe I should pause longer between these so you can laugh. Play the laugh track. Anyway. Our decorating consultant is Patio Furniture. Our politeness advisor is Chuck U. Farley. Our beach correspondent is Sandy Beaver.
Oh no.
Our manufacturer reporter is Bill Tulast.
That's good.
Our weather forecaster is Hal Stone, and our sports gaming forecaster is Betty Chokes. Our news forecaster is Clairvoyant, and of course our pornography Phil Lachio and Connie Langus. Back to you on this day, which is July 19th, 2024. Phil Lachio wrote that. I'm sorry, he wrote that line. Anyway, July 19th, 2024 on Before Daiquiris.
Okay. Well, this has been Allison here. I'm sorry, I was actually like crying laughing from those last two names. And we will see you next week for Mucking Fun Day. You have a good weekend out there. Stay safe. Put sunscreen on. Drink water. Keep cool in this summertime, even if it's freezing where you are. I guess keep warm. And we will see. Keep a normal temperature of 78.7 degrees, or what is that, like 31 Celsius or something. We will see you next week. Have a good one. Don't forget to subscribe. Turn on the notifications so you know when we go live and post a video. And here is the mic drop moment.
German, I don't know of any German comedians because German people, a lot of German people do not have a sense of humor. They're not known.
He's German,
probably.
Basically,
yeah.
like a quarter
They're
German.
very literal people. Right.
Yeah.
Well, he's never been to Germany, but his
someone once said that more
is
funny
German.
things are said at a cocktail party in Paris than in the entire year in Germany. But they're very literal, and they don't understand Americans because we're non-literal. We're like a German would say, why would you call this man curly? He has no hair at all. Why would you call someone curly who has no hair? That doesn't make sense.
It's not funny then.
And tiny is at least 350 pounds.
Yeah, Dick Cavett was telling me he appeared on a German television show once, and it was horrendous because he would try to say something amusing, and then the guy in Germany would say, "Ich and so forth, and that people just sat there. And because it was probably some play on words or something, it meant absolutely nothing.
Well, even when, like the Volkswagen, I got the feeling when they made it, they say this is one of the finest cars, it's a very economical car. And you say, well, what are the little holes in the side for? That's ventilation. That's for ventilation. You might put a machine gun in there.
Even he laughed.
And the sunroof, when it opens up, you take it.
Anyway.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons. And follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.